My BMW e30 M3 right here has seen 9 owners, track days, abuse, mods and quite a lot of rust. But after this video, all that history will be history because we get to preserve this legendary BMW for the next generation. So welcome to Outpost Garage. My name is Panu and today we're making car dreams come true. In this video, you will see how an 80s rust bucket will be rejuvenated to be a factory-fresh legend of an M3. So enjoy the show. One thing I don't want to see in my cars is rust. And this car being a BMW from the 1980s and living in the Arctic Circle, a car cannot survive without accumulating some rust. I will also talk about later in the video about why I didn't send the whole car frame to be sandblasted. So next up, we get to dive headfirst into the 3 worst areas of the car by welding in some new sheet metal. After that, the car would be ready for some new layer of primer paint and undercoating for the engine bay, undercarriage and wheel wells. Oh, by the way, if you're interested in knowing about the products we've used to prime and paint the car, there's a full segment at the end of this video. I would like to point out something that all professional painters know. You should use a paint booth with proper ventilation and filtering so you don't gas yourself, and wet paint will be clear of dust particles and so on. There is a third reason when it comes to kind of paint fallout, and I will talk to you more about this later in the video because I kind of knew about it. We did take precautions, but still the paint got everywhere. It is now time to do some welding. The car has 3 major repair areas that need fixing. Since this is something that I have never done, but Kim has, I will let him do the work and I'll try to learn as much as I can. As you can see, someone has been welding here before. Check out these 3 areas. First, the areas behind the front wheel wells are prone to rust in the E30s, and this car is no different. Second, the passenger side sill, which people tend to use as a jacking point, has been fixed, and this mystery square next to the transmission. I can only imagine there have been some rust here before. Let's start our welding adventures with the front right wheel well. There are 2 areas to work on. First, we're attacking the lower one. We need to do some markings to know what sized metal plate we are recreating and where to fit the brake line bracket. So now you're marking where the bracket will come.
Yep.
So, okay, yeah.
We don't need to think about it later.
Yeah, so we're going to use that bracket in the new sheet metal piece that's going to be welded here.
Yeah, this one, yeah.
Yeah. All right. And basically you're extending the lines beyond the cutting points,
yes.
So we can use those long lines then. Next, Kim is cutting the bad area with the Dremel. Lucky for us, the area is in easy rectangle shape. After cutting, the rest was hammered out. Then Kim is removing the brake line bracket from the old piece and cutting a new straight metal piece. And here he is drilling some holes to the bracket in order to make the welding stick better. And by the magic of not filming, the bracket has been welded to the new plate. And here the new plate is being welded to the chassis of the car.
So if you are looking for like professional welder, my contact is below.
Yeah. Here, the most of the welding material has been grinded off to leave out a more flat and finished look. And here we are figuring out if there are any pinholes in the welding area. And here you can see the other side where Kim is grinding out the excess material. After the first spot was done, Kim started working on the next one right above it. The same strategy was taken as with the one below. I was quite focused on my rear corner, so we didn't have too much footage on this particular area. Right, so Kim has successfully fixed the right wheel well, and now it is time to move on to the other major rust area, repair area under the car, behind the left wheel. Alright, so we're here in the jungle, under the car, trying to figure out what to do next. Alright, Kim, what's the plan? 2 pieces?
2 pieces.
90 degrees.
Yeah, first remove the old.
Can you show where you're gonna cut?
Here. Both sides.
Yeah.
And try to do something.
Yeah. Well, something is definitely going to happen.
Yeah, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it looks quite terrible. What do you think happened here? Maybe some sort of curb Or maybe someone lifted the car and did something terrible.
Yeah, that's normally what happened, E30s.
So this is
People
pretty
lifting the
normal,
box,
they
yeah.
screw up this area, alright.
Yeah.
After coming up with a plan, Kim starts with a knife trying to pry out all that comes off easily. Then he sets off by cutting off rust and non-savable metal with the Milwaukee angle grinder. Alright Kim, so you have cut this wide open and you have made this piece.
Yep.
Which looks great. And yeah, but now the problem was that there's this piece and you need to cut that away so to fit the new bit perfectly. So we need to cut this bit off to have this be flat here or align with this bit and this bit.
Yep.
Here Kim is working on the fitment of the new plate. Now the piece is welded and things are looking great. Some more welding, please. And here, Kim is making the welding spots a bit nicer. As you can see, there's a bad rust area behind the right rear wheel. This area is under the removable rear bumper, but still needs to be sorted out. I start by using a power tool. Next, I am marking the area to cut, only to find out later that I was a bit too optimistic. Since there is anything between 1 and 3 layers of metal stuck together on any given part of the car, I'm trying to only cut through the first layer. This way I can see what's what and hopefully do less and preserve more. And oh boy, as you can see, there is more to this Rusty the Clown that we can see with this little peephole. Unfortunately, I need to make a larger opening. Alright, so checking out what's on the other side. So this is the place for the battery, which I guess is prone to some rust. And obviously we have some as well. So I've now been scraping off the plastic material, gummy material, whatever that is, rust prevention stuff. And seeing that, yeah, the rust has been expanding a bit. So we need to cut at least that much away and fabricate a new piece. And yeah. But nothing impossible, I guess. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut up to here, maybe through here. So I'll know where the rust line is. And from here, it's gonna be a bit of quite impossible to get there. So I don't know how to do that. Did I do okay?
Holy shit!
I have to say it feels quite bad to do something like this. But yeah.
Better to do it now than later.
Yeah. But the rust was up to here, and then there's the problem of having multiple sheets here. So we need how much to open the?
Easy peasy.
Yeah. First, I will cut a piece of sheet metal to make a new piece for the rear corner. And here I am hammering the metal piece into form. Almost perfect. Just one more round of hammering. Come on! This is pretty fucking good, right?
Yeah.
Kim is using his magnets to initially hold the plate in place so he can weld the starting spots. Got it? Come on. Very nice. Woo. Tulipalo. So after the steam cleaning fiasco, me and Kim will be working on the undercarriage and the wheel wells to get rid of the undercoating and see where there's rust and to weld them, fix them by welding or just cleaning up surface rust. And we are mostly done, maybe? 90%, yeah. And so I'll show you around where we've gone through, but everything is starting to be nice. But here you can see someone has done some welding here on both of the front wheel wells, the back ends and under there. But I guess that's a common place for the e30s to rust. Not 100% sure if this is the greatest fix ever, but seems to be okay. So we're gonna put some new 3M coating on top, first the primer and the coating, and hopefully it's all good. And as you can see here, I did in the previous episode say, in the first episode in the intro I said this car has seen everything except for a head-on collision. And in the second episode I was going through papers without realizing I said that there's someone has written on a paper that this car had a front end accident in Germany, so when the car was like 2 years old. And here we can actually see what's what. So this car has seen everything, and I'm pretty sure the interior is gonna reveal us new mysteries as well. But just looking at this is like tin. I don't know why that is tin. That's one thing. And here you can see that these are not flat. So there are these little holes next to the strut towers that are kind of bent on this side, and plus the tin. And as you can see on the other side, they are flat and there's nothing. So I'm pretty sure this corner has taken a hit. And the front subframe bolts in perfectly, so maybe everything is straight and through, but I don't know. But it was fun to realize that what I said, there's one thing that this car hasn't seen, and it really does have seen a head-on collision. So here we are. But it seems quite all right, so we're pretty happy with after when we're gonna get everything done. And yeah, follow me. So here we have gone through surface rust. Kim yesterday did all these bits, so we can put another layer, a new layer of undercoating. And there are some parts that we haven't removed the undercoating. We're just going to add a new very thin layer to make it look uniform with the new stuff. But yeah, there's maybe not a point to take everything out. But whenever we've seen some sort of rust or it's just kind of coming off, then we've taken a spot, as you can see, to make sure that there isn't any underlying rust. And here, there's just multiple, like I could say there are 100 spots where we've grinded off the undercoating. Here, all these bits there. You could see a little bit of surface rust, but basically most of the spots were pretty nice. So just surface rust, and the undercoating was kind of peeling off. But when you go big enough area, grinding it off, it just stops, and then you can apply a new layer of stuff. And yeah, but there were a few spots where we had to weld, or Kim did. It's here, in front, the right wheel well, and then this bit here. Or here, in the right rear wheel well, a couple of spots, and in this fender here. Of course, there's going to be a bumper here, and we'll paint this and so. But a few spots had to be welded. You can see here quite many places of rust bubbling, but in the end it's not that bad. Of course, this doesn't look nice. We'll use some anti-corrosive and anti-rust primer and then matching paint, but this is not going to probably be that beautiful after it's done, but it's still a non-visible area. The most important thing here has been rust repairs and rust prevention. So the next time around this car will be painted, so then you can do all that stuff. But since the car was painted exterior-wise quite nicely before I bought the car, so I've decided not to do a full body paint restoration. So that's why these are not going to be that beautiful, but you can't see them. But important to have the rust removed.
Before the fight against rust started, I was super nervous because this is something I have never done before, and most of the procedures were completely new to me. But now that we're finished with rust work and welding, we can now start to apply some primer and undercoating, and I'm feeling a bit more optimistic. One might ask, why not sandblast the whole car? Well, to sandblast the whole car, we would have to strip the glass from it and everything else from it, which we have not done yet so far, and then send it somewhere and get it sandblasted and then repainted. Would be a big ordeal and create a lot of extra cost, especially since the exterior paint of the car has been repainted and water sanded to some degree, and it looks great. So this would have been a lot of extra hassle, and let's say something between 10 and 15,000 euros of extra cost, which would have been for nothing, since we could easily attack the undercarriage and wheel wells by ourselves with machines. And I think the end result is going to be great. It's going to be rust free, look like new, and yeah, and we got to do this and film it for you. So I've been talking with the previous owner about the car. He's been very helpful about what he knows and so on. One reason he sold the car is because there was some metal flakes in the oil, and now I really can't get that thing out of my head. So now I'm gonna take out the oil filter and open it up and see what's what. So let's start by taking out the oil filter from right there. How do you open this? I don't think I have a tool for this. All right, so now we have the tool to remove the oil filter, so let's do it. Kim, you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. First, let's pour the extra stuff out into this little thing. I'm hungry. It's like a gold rush, but with inverse results. What you don't want is... Can you point out some? Oh, it's glittering too much now. But there's definitely just, yeah.
There is one chip.
Come on.
Now.
Would it be amazing if this was made in West Germany? All the original parts were made in West Germany. Oh. But we do need to remember that this engine has been rebuilt, and it is, as per usual, or quite normal to have some metal flaking in new engines. Ish, I guess.
Yeah, first.
But nothing there. So we do see some small stuff in the oil, like right there.
And also here, like
Very small particles.
very small.
Yeah. All right, so not super stoked that there was some flakes in the oil, metal flakes, but basically in the oil filter itself, in the paper filter, we can't see pretty much anything, but we can see some little flaking in the oil, but that might actually just be normal wear and tear for a new engine being broken in. Very nice.
Very nice, yeah.
Now let's move on to the main part of this video, the paint and the undercoating. First, we are cleaning up all the surfaces for primer and for the rust primer on select areas. After that, we are covering up all the surfaces that are not going to be painted.
So next up, I think the wheel well rust work or grinding is done. So now I'm going to first use compressed air to get rid of whatever stuff there is. Then use a brush to get rid of all this stuff that has flown, stuck all over the place. Then I'll use some sort of cleaner to clean all the chemicals off, so whatever we're putting in would stick.
Let's begin by cleaning the car's exterior. The M3 has been sitting here for over 6 months, and after all the grinding and welding, the surface is pretty dirty. First, I would just blow off all the debris and dirt, and then do a dry cleaning because a power washer was out of the question. I did find a couple of areas that had some rust, so I used the drill to clean up those as well. Then I would pour some car systems silicone remover to a spray bottle to make the cleaning a bit easier. So the last area to work on were the rolled rear fenders, but with a bit of elbow grease we managed to make them safe from rust and ready for primer and undercoating.
So this is the name of the game. We were just thinking, oh, we're done, we can move on to the next phase, but he just found one little corner where there's some surface rust, so now he's taking out the old undercoating and we're gonna do the whole process for that spot again. But I've been finding new spots yesterday, today, all day long.
Now that we think we have nailed all the visible and accessible rust on this car, let's proceed to the next phase, which is cleaning up the surfaces before painting.
one of the unfortunate things with this car is, of course, someone rolled the fenders to get bigger wheels or whatever. And I've been doing my best to get, surface rust out. It hasn't gone through, but it's quite difficult to put, all this stuff there and so on. So we see how it goes. I just actually also checked out that new quarter panels to rear is like 2,700 and fronts are like 700. At this point, it's Eastern 2025 if you're watching this in the future, in the past. And they used to be like 200 or something back in the day. So I guess if I was smart and I knew I wanted to keep this car forever or something, I would just buy a round of fenders to be applied later down the line if so needs to be. But I don't know, it needs space, and then there's 10 grand worth of money just attached to that stuff that is going to be just like, someone who inherits me is going to find that in an attic and be like, oh, this is junk, and throw it away.
So after the cleanup, we begin by applying copious amounts of masking tape all over the car and covering the other cars as well in the garage.
Yeah, if you want to see some professional shit, go see Kimchi.
I have no idea what I'm doing. Anyway, we need to polish this car. So.
Did you say Polish, this car?
Polish.
Polish?
Polish.
As you can see from here, I think I've covered this before, but you can see all this tin or whatever, what looks different to the original metal. So this part of the car has been crushed, but I feel like everything is great and true.
Don't feel. Trust.
Oh, did you see the picture from the previous owner that he still has the Evo steering wheel and maybe seats? And a previous owner said he spent quite a lot of money for the car to be, or the paint to be water sand and ceramic coated. But you can actually see that doesn't have that orange peel that much, or part of the car is very nice. The lower part still has some orange peel, but someone made an effort here. I'm so tired. Remember to like and subscribe because I like doing this. Oh, by the way, at this point in time, there are 3 episodes out, and after like first 1,000 views, 2 previous owners contacted me. So that was very nice, and so now I know a lot more about the car and its history, and I will do probably a separate episode just about the history of the car. So like and subscribe so you don't miss out on that interesting episode. This is a big moment. The preparations for the primer to go under the car and into the wheel wells is pretty much done. And we have, as you can see, like so, everything is covered. Let's go under here. And here you can see we've covered the holes, except for this one. Still need to go into the trunk. And here we're just going to do one last round of cleaning of the surface, and then do the primer here. All right, so now we're doing the last preparations. Well, everything is packed, as you can see, and we'll do the last cleanup of the surfaces that will be primed or prime painted. A primer has to be applied, and Kim is here already working on everything. So we have
Degreaser.
Degreaser, yeah. Microfiber towel, brand new one, some degreaser, and going through here. And yeah, in a moment we're gonna cover the floor and the pillars, and then we're gonna start applying the primer, which is actually quite exciting. More exciting than it might actually sound. Ooh. Yeah, buddy. All right, so as you can see, by the way, we're doing wheel wells, these bars, and this everything that's gonna be have the undercoating on. So yeah, the engine bay,
this area, everything up there, is not gonna have an undercoating. So we're gonna do this first, have everything undercoated, the primer, undercoating, and then we're gonna invert the protection and do the engine bay. And hopefully then with the body and frame will be done, and we can start installing suspension and engine and so on. And it was him who farted.
And as you can see, we are covering up a lot of things in the garage. And I still wish the painting didn't take place here. But the car was up and disassembled, so this is how it went down.
It is now time to prep the paint and the paint gun. For the primer, we are using a product from Finland, from a well-known company called Tikkurila. And this was recommended to us by other car restorer. It's called Temaco GPLS Primer. It's an epoxy primer paint. And yeah, and to be used with that or to be mixed with, first we would get the manual, which tells you all that you need to know. It basically tells the curing times, mixing ratios, which hardeners and thinners to use, and so on. For the hardener, we would use this 008 5600 Temacoat hardener and a thinner like this one, and a mixing cup to make sure the mixing ratios are correct. These cost like 50 cents or something. It's pretty easy to use. It says like 9:1, 7:1, 8:1, and so on. You can just use the mixing ratios on the cups. And the idea of the thinner is to make the paint a bit more runny or less viscous. So that helps you in application of the paint or applying the paint through the paint gun. And the hardener is also known as a curing agent, and its mission is to transform the paint into a solid and make it more durable. So as for the paint guns, Kim had two different paint guns, of which he preferred this Italian one, very fancy, HT3 HTE3 Anest Ivata Group, I don't know. And also I have a small compressor here, which unfortunately was a bit too small, so that when Kim would paint for like 10-15 seconds, he would have to wait 30-40 seconds for the compressor to work its magic. So if you want to use a paint gun for a big project like this, you should have a bigger compressor. And before applying any paint, we would of course clean up all the surfaces using a silicone remover. And for the engine bay, we would go to a local car paint shop to get a mixture of paint, which is like after the paint code or the exact paint for the car. So for that, we would of course have its own, can't remember which one, but a hardener. And there's of course the clear coat for the engine bay, and of course that uses a different kind of hardener, so that I have just multiple of these. But yeah, so that's everything about the paints. Now let's start painting the car.
And finally, Kim is ready to start the actual painting. It has taken so many days to get here.
Sweating?
Yeah.
Oh my god, all the chemicals, the fumes. Woo. I'm pretty sure I've lost 10 years of my life and the ability to reproduce, but you know, the M3 project has continued.
Yeah, I cannot see anymore anything. I need to go outside.
Oh, the fumes. Like, it's just like,
Heavy job.
if you're a professional painter and you're watching this, you're probably going like, the fumes are working their way into my brains because I'm just delusional right now. Toffe, it's good that you're not here. You're the young one. We need to save your soul.
And voila! The primer has been applied and the car looks so fresh. Hell yeah!
Alright, so yet another day, and now the primer is done. The priming is done mostly, I will do a couple of touch-ups first, and then Kim is ready to go with the undercoating, and we'll see how that goes.
All right, so as you can see, the primer is laid out nicely. There are still a couple of spots here, and on the other side I need to do a little touch-ups. And as you can see, this was bare metal, but here we have the previous Seeger or undercoating, which we'll do another layer here, and then an extra layer going over the old stuff as well, so we get a nice finish. You like the smell?
All right, so why are we applying undercoating? Well, all cars come with some sort of undercoating from the factory, but since we live in the north, of course this car is only going to be a hobby enthusiast summer Sunday car from now on, but still undercoating is the first and best line of defense against rust. And since we have lots of moisture, cold, freezing temperatures and everything, and they use salt to unfreeze the roads here, so that's the best way to protect the steel body of the car. And the one big problem is that when you have a small hole somewhere and water gets in, and then the temperature goes below freezing, that ice that turns to ice and it expands, and that breaks the surface of the paint or something else, and then you have a cavity which starts to rust. So this undercoating makes a quite thick and rubbery coating that can take, you know, little pebbles and the debris hitting it without breaking the way that primer or paint or other paint materials do, and they might crack or so. So the soft undercoating is the best line for defense from rocks and everything else.
All right, so kimchi. Kimchi is here. Out of between 1 out of 10, what do you think? How has this ordeal gone through?
Pretty well.
I'm quite satisfied.
Yeah, and now my hair is also undercoated.
Yeah. So now you're doing the last touches with the brush to make it what they did in the at the factory with some seams or something.
Yeah. With
Do we have any?
BM brush. But I never used this before, and I need to say it's quite easy.
Did someone do this for your car?
But we use different.
Different brush?
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean the different undercoating.
All right. Yeah, what do you think about the 3M stuff?
This is amazing, but only bad thing is
Yeah, so some of the bags from the
problems. Yeah.
We had 2 boxes, 6 bags per box, and the other box was like half of them were somewhat faulty and started leaking.
Yeah.
So the plan is now still to paint this undercarriage black. And now Kim gets to finalize the undercoating with the brush around the seams. This truly gives the car a factory fresh look. And as for the Seeger or undercoating, we are using a 3M product called 08800, very sexy name, a sprayable sealer. It comes in these bags, and it's 2-part bag, so there's a seal here, and you have to break it with your hands and kind of mix it like this. And we spent 10 bags for the whole car, undercarriage and undercoating, so you know where to start if you're gonna use these bags for your own project. And unfortunately, we do have 1 extra bag because we need to redo 1 area. The problem was either the bag was faulty or there was a user error in mixing the bag, since you have to first break the seal by pressing here and then kind of mix the whole thing, and a straw would come down from here, and then when you use the gun from 3M and attach the compressed air here, it would kind of suck the material out from the bag from here. So something probably happened with the mixing portion of the process. But yeah, seems to be great. This is gray in color. I don't know if they have other colors, so that's the reason why we ended up painting the whole undercarriage and wheel wells that was the Seeger was applied to
to a black color. So after we had the 3M applied, we thought, nah, that's not a nice color. So we went and bought some more Tikkuriga stuff. So this is a metal Temadur solvent-borne polyurethane paint for Metso, and evidently also okay for the 3M stuff. And we of course it needed its own hardener and thinner. Why would you use the same ones when you can spend more money and buy other ones? But yeah, so this is the undercoating, and all the undercoating was painted black with this paint.
So here we are again, it is 21st of May, and today we are applying one more layer to the undercarriage of the car. Because even though the undercoating is very nice and we are very happy with how it came out, the color is a bit dull, it's gray. So we want to apply this black paint layer to it, which actually adds a new protective layer against rust. On top of the undercarriage being painted black, we are also painting the new fuel tank with the same color. And while he's going to start painting the undercarriage, I will prep the fuel tank and we'll get that sorted today as well. So here we go. Oh, look at that. That looks nice. It's gonna look nice.
Next up is the gas tank. This is an aftermarket gas tank that came in this gray color. We decided to have it in the same color as the undercarriage and undercoating. Let's first prep the surface with some Scotch-Brite and chemical remover. Thank you, Tony, for the help.
All right, Kim, how was the paint job today?
Paint was easier than before.
This paint layer was easier to apply.
Yeah.
All right, so first we had the primer, then we had the coating, and now the black paint over the coating. Which was the easiest and the hardest?
This was the easiest. And the hardest was the two-component
Coating.
coating, yeah. That was shit one.
Yeah, it just because it was in a bag and you have to be fiddly with it.
I know, yeah.
Which one smelled the best?
What do you mean the best?
Which one of them wanted to make you dance the most?
I think the coating.
You heard it from here.
After the paint had dried, we would reverse the paint covers so we can protect the undercarriage and work on the engine bay.
All right, let's check out some. This is the primer, and on top of it we should see, the black. So there's 3 layers of stuff, so I'm gonna cut through here. The amazing part is that this really sticks to the metal, but not the tape. So I can just go like this. Amazing.
To prep the engine bay for some new paint, we unfortunately have to remove all the OEM stickers. Fortunately though, there are companies that redo and sell original looking stickers, and we can reuse some of the old ones. Next up, we are prepping the engine bay for some primer and paint. Here you can also see the starting point. We have done lots of preparation work here already. The engine bay with the primer looks amazing in itself, doesn't it?
Alright, so now Kim is still scraping off the last bits of masking tape. It has been very interesting to see the whole process, especially when it comes to doing rust work, welding and paint, undercoating and so on. And even though all the actual paint, which is quite dirty here, is really nice, the exterior paint which we didn't touch, and obviously we would have not painted the exterior paint here without the painting booth and more experience and everything. All the things that have been painted here, like undercoating, wheel wells, and areas that are not the showpiece of the painters, as you can, you know what I mean. But it's been really interesting, and I'm quite relieved that it's over.
this is the first time in a way we can see real progress. Everything has been just taking stuff off and grinding and peeling and washing, and now this is the first time we can see some actual results, which is really nice. And next up is, of course, we'll be putting the car back together, and that's going to be very nice as well. Yeah, so you're saying we're going to another direction in a way that the project in itself, like I said, has been just taking stuff off and peeling and rust work and so on. Now we get to have all the good parts of putting stuff together and having stuff work and look fresh and yeah.
All right, so here we are prepping the engine bay for a second round. Safety first, kids.
Yeah.
Safety first.
So Kim had the idea of adding another layer and a matte clear coat onto the engine bay. So I was quite happy with this first round, but since he wanted to do it and he's gonna do the painting, why not? So now we're prepping with, what do you call that thing? Scotch-Brite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're prepping the engine bay with Scotch-Brite and then cleaning with the degreaser, and then another layer of the same paint and a clear coat with a 2 to 1
yeah.
clear coat with a matte clear coat. So it's going to be a 25 or somewhat matte in the engine bay. We'll see how it goes. And the rear ones, we're going to do the same prep and just apply normal clear coat now. So no more paint in the rear. Today is a special day because today we get to unbox the BMW e30 M3, which is 40 years old. And it's been, as you can see, covered mostly because we've been painting the undercarriage, wheel wells and engine bay. And today we get to see the whole thing in its full glory. So let's get started by removing all the masking tape and film.
All right, so I'll be working the camera and Kim will be unboxing.
Unboxing guy.
Yes. This is the unboxing shirt that he's been waiting to wear for this moment, right?
Yep.
It's a very, very special occasion. Of course, because Kim did most of the painting, or all of the painting basically. So we'll see how it goes. It's better that I'm behind the camera, so if I don't like what I see, so you don't see the disappointment on my face. Point out, this area here, going here, was just it was rust-free and it had like maybe from the factory all this coating, but it was just nasty. So we cleaned it up and Kim painted it with a brush, just with brush. But it really nicely and seamlessly connects to the different. This is the painted area. Of course, we're gonna have fenders here, bumpers, everything. But so, and here we have the wheel well, 3 different paint areas or styles. What do you call it? Yeah. Yeah, what we are kind of looking for are like the seams. So here we have the great paint for the engine bay. This we've left matte, and here comes the undercoating. So the way that, they transition from one style of painting or coating to the next. So I think most of the lines are very nice and protected. Very nice. So Kim, what do you think?
For the engine bay or the whole result?
So far, the front of the car. So we have engine bay, which has been prepped, primed, painted a couple of times, and a matte-ish clear coat, which came out quite not that matte, maybe
Maybe the 50%, so you mix it with 100% clear coat with 50% on top of with the matte stuff, and I think we went with like 20% ish. So I don't know. It is what it is. I don't think
the result gonna be amazing.
Yeah, I don't. It's you know, it's a preference thing. It's I don't think there's like right and wrong. It's just like what you like, and if it's like shiny or matte, I think both are cool. But yeah, I'm really happy how these areas or the lines transitions to a different area. So this was just a quick and dirty brush paint to have everything look pretty nice here. And because when you use masking tape, there's a risk of having but all the transitions are quite nice. And the like wheel wells and everything are super nice, especially when you've done the OEM rusting. Because if you haven't done that, then that really makes it like look like factory. Yeah, so here there's some sort of body glue or something that was used here to have a new ceiling and factory look here and maybe here, yeah. And now we have a nicer hole instead of the hand grenade blast hole. So we're gonna put some rubber around it so it looks nice. For some reason, this one area here, as you can see, a bit of gray. For some reason, that area is not dry, and it's the primer which we applied first and waited a day or two or a week or something before the undercoating was put on. For some reason this one area hasn't dried up, and that's very confusing. If you know what this is about, please leave a comment. But yeah, there's one area with multiple areas in the undercoating. That hasn't happened, and I don't think we had like a thicker layer here or something else. And it's kind of weird that the primer is kind of mixing. It's not, the primer should have been dry before we applied the undercoating, but for some reason it is still wet and kind of mixing with me. But someone said you can try a heat gun to try to, it will dry out in the end, but still, this has been here for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but everything else is fine. And here are some, as you can see, in some areas, there's the primer kind of sticks out because of we might have redone the masking tape or something. But yeah, we'll kind of make these a bit nicer then.
Let's do the final touch-up in the engine bay.
It is done. Let me speak without the mask for a moment and shorten my life expectancy like 10 years-ish. Yes. All right. So a second layer is done, and next up, in a few hours, in a few hours, Kim will apply a layer of clear coat, which will have a bit of matte clear coat in it, so it'll be a wee bit matte, not full, the same as the outside exterior paint. But yeah, you happy with the results?
I'm very happy.
Very nice. Very.
And the new gun was much better also.
Oh yeah, so you were using, he had two paint guns, and this Italian one, which looks very nice. Ferrari of the paint guns work better. So if you want to paint, get an Italian.
And let's finish up this baby with the last layer of clear coat in the engine bay.
All right, Kim, what's happening? Redo?
Redo, yeah.
Yeah. So, as you might already know, one bag probably didn't mix well, so we have to redo it. Yesterday I grinded all this area down to almost bare metal or primer, and now new primer is being applied.
Yeah, with the brush.
With the brush. Since there's going to be the undercoating, we wouldn't brush this paint, the part of the car, but let's just hope it's gonna. Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah.
Let me show you the other side. This is a smaller area, as you can see here. And now Kim is gonna decrease it
5 times.
Yeah, you should do this many times. So basically all the area that was grinded off and redoed was smooshy, sticky, and it did the undercoating or sealer didn't properly dry off, and it's been months now. So I just wanted to do this as properly as possible. So a redo.
It is the next day and Kim is preparing the sealer or undercoating. The bag has two sections with two different chemicals. The seal between the section needs to be broken so that the chemicals can mix. This time around, Kim spent a good amount of time mixing the sealer. I have to say that the 3M bags are not that user-friendly. Many of the bags broke from a corner and made a mess. Still, Kim managed to apply the sealer to the car. In order to apply the sealer, a 3M pistol would be used with compressed air. Unfortunately, we were missing an O-ring between the pistol and the bag, so air was escaping while Kim was trying to apply the sealer. Fortunately, the sealer was applied successfully in the end.
So while we were painting those two patches or redoing them, Kim had, we just saw one car being restored, and that kind of brought the idea of maybe putting some sealer or undercoating in the on top of the bottom of the gas tank, since that's how they came out from the factory. So since we had some extra stuff in the bag, we quickly prepped the surface and put some tape here, masking tape, and redid all this. So next up it's going to be spray painted with black and so on, but it's going to hopefully look pretty good.
So here we have applied a new round of undercoating, primer and undercoating for this part and on the other side, since it didn't dry out. And yeah, so it's been like this for a few days. It is looking pretty good. And I think it's gonna fade out perfectly, so you can't see that it's been patched. But yeah, there are still some sticky bits, but it's getting more dry by the day. And yeah, but we're kind of stressed out that is it gonna dry out properly or not. We're gonna give it time, a week or two. But yeah, if there's a patch that is, you know, not thick, it's already dried out, like with the gas tank. So this is fully nothing. Yeah, this is all cured, but here we have some thicker bits which are still a bit wet, but yeah, hoping for the best. Oh boy, let me raise my hand and admit I've been a bit stupid and lazy, because when we started painting, I knew that there's gonna be a fallout zone for the paint residue from the paint gun. And we did drive the cars out, cover things and everything, and I thought, like, coming all this way from the painting area, it would be okay, but oh boy, how wrong was I. So the paint absolutely got everywhere. Fortunately, most of this stuff is just old. Everything is just old junk, and the cars were, you know, covered or driven outside. But you know, not all the cars here are mine. But yeah, my recommendation is do not paint, and I know that all the professional car painters know this, but do not paint inside your garage unless you have a paint booth or you're ready to decimate the whole place with paint residue fallout. Top tip. So here we are, and we have finally finished the work on the frame of the car, and I mean engine bay, undercarriage and wheel wells have been sorted. There's no rust, everything is being protected and painted for years to come. Now that the paint has dried, I do have a couple of tips for you, something I would do differently the next time round. First of all, do not paint in a place like this without the paint booth. Since I could fit a paint booth here, I should have done that, but for different reasons, one being a bit lazy and not being fully knowledgeable about the fact that the fallout from the spray gun is going to get everywhere. And some small bits you can basically paint outside, but for the whole car, either send it to somewhere to be painted, which is of course very expensive, or if you want to do it yourself, do it in a place where it doesn't matter. And secondly, this car had a great exterior paint when I bought it. So I didn't feel like sandblasting the whole car and starting over. That would have added so much cost and complexity to the whole process. So I was happy just to do the undercarriage and wheel wells and engine bay, which don't need to look so good. So I would never try to paint this part of the car. But in this time, we could do the undercarriage wheel wells and go through all the same processes as if you would paint the whole car. So this has been very educational, very interesting, and a bit nerve-wracking, but still very interesting to do. But basically, if you can do some small bits to paint with a compressor and a paint gun and so on, go for it and try it out, and you can do it outside for some bits and bobs. And lastly, I will touch on the rust work we did. First of all, we had maybe 200 rust areas on the car that we would use drill bits to walk on and grind off all the rust. Just be mindful of not using too strong tips so you don't make scratchy marks on the metal. And when it comes to welding, it is not a big mountain to climb, but you need the gear, which is first, I think, the biggest hurdle. But if you have welding gear, or someone can lend it to you, or it's easy to rent, go for it. Maybe educate yourself on YouTube, or even better if you know someone who knows how to do that, so that they could come over and teach you how to do that. But don't be too scared of welding 1 or 2 holes in the car. Of course, I think we had pretty easy patches to do, but still. But I'm really happy how it all turned out, and yeah, it's been quite an adventure. Good news, because in the next episode, we're gonna put all of this into this, and it's gonna be the coolest episode yet, because it's gonna be so much fun just installing new stuff, that everything has been prepped already. So see you in the next one, and thank you for watching.